Hi, I'm a senior principal at KeyReply. I'll just give a small introduction about KeyReply. I got 2.5 extra minutes in this format, so I have some time now. Um, so KeyReply, we are focusing on how to increase developer experience with the help of AI. So we try to automate various parts of the software development lifecycle with the help of AI, automating various things which we developers either are busy or lazy or we have no interest to do. So saying that, I would ask how many of you are working with legal documents or have to process them? Lucky guys, not so many. So I have a clicker as well, right? Okay, perfect. Okay, so then the biggest challenge what we see with legal documents, or at least, okay, this one is also gone. Okay, perfect. So the biggest challenge with legal documents, what we see is they are really dense documents. They contain a lot of context, a lot of definitions and informations plus cross-references. What we also see that answer to a question may not be in one area. It can refer to multiple clauses, multiple other sections, could be also multiple other documents. One more problem is exactness is super important. If I miss one small part of the clause, then that makes my answer wrong. Completely wrong. It's unlike other documents. When I have a partial match, it still could be okay. But here, that can lead me into a lot of legal problems. So the scenario is you want to ask something to your legal document. Here I took GDPR document as an example. It can be many other documents. If you're working in automotive industry or other industries or pharma, they have all their compliance which you have to fulfill. So it can work on most of the documents. So as I mentioned, exactness is super important. Second is there are a lot of definitions which we may not understand. So they are also super tricky to capture. As I also mentioned, multi-hopping reasoning is also super important. So you may not get the answer. So if you do a traditional normal semantic search, you may not get the complete context or all the information. And if you want to increase that, then you run into a balancing act of recall and precision. So you want many chunks enough that your answer is perfect, but if you give a lot of chunks, then your answer is not precise enough. So to do this, what we started off with is a very simple, naive approach, like everyone would have done. We chunked the documents, embedded it, and then started querying it. And when we queried it, here you see, I will be running through the same question in all of our experimentations, and we can see how the answers are getting improved with our progressive approach. So here, I asked, what are the conditions for processing personal data of a child under the GDPR? A lot of states, they have their different definitions of age, or let's say child. Here in the answer, we can see that it could capture the age perfectly fine, but many more other information related to this are still missing. Like, what are the verifications? Who is responsible for doing all those verifications? Who is, or are there some exceptions to this rule or such kind of information? So what we did is, or what we realized is exactness in terms of keywords are also missing. And this is where Qdrant was super amazing to do hybrid search. So what we did is, then we did a hybrid search with Qdrant, where we kind of found the semantic similarity, but also exact keyword similarity, which could have been missed because of like larger context sizes or so. And then we did a search. And here, if you would see, we could get age, which were like before, but also here we could get, let's say, parents can give authority. Plus, it also gave us this recital 38 clause, which also says that if the data is for marketing or profiling, or if it is for the counseling of kids, then companies can process those data without, even if they are younger than 16 years old. So this was first missing, But if some companies working in this counseling part or profiling part, then they could still process this legally, which was missing in our first clause. But what was missing is if there are multiple other hops in this clause, which leads to other things, or if we have some implicit links that we will see in the next approach. So what we did after that is, and when we did this two approach, our context size was actually kind of getting increased, getting context from both the hybrid style. So what we did is then did re-ranking on top of it. So it was not something out of improving the quality, but it was just we wanted to experiment if it increases or makes it more precise. But as a good effect, what we could get here is here, if you see in our responses, what we got is age, we got the recital part, but also here you can read that controllers also have a duty to verify that the consent is genuinely given by a parent or guardian in such cases. So this is an important clause, which is important if, so let's imagine a situation where someone says my parents have given the consent or so, but it's the controller's responsibility to verify if it is a actual consent or not. If proven wrong, then they can have really big problems. So what we got better here is we had better recall and precision, and also the noise got reduced so that we could get this verification kind of clauses better. Then here, what problems were solved? So we had very few duplicates as we did some re-ranking, and we just took the top rank ones. We also, as I mentioned, better recall and precision with less noise. But what we are still missing is unseen clauses, or if this clause has a relationship with some other clauses, those things were still missing. So what we then did is, then we thought, as we are talking about relationships, like one clause having a relationship with another clause, we thought to bring a graph on top of it. So what we were doing is doing hybrid search, but then also embedding or kind of finding everything, putting them into a graph for relationships, and then finding all related clauses according to that, and then sending it over to the LLM. So then here we can see that the responses were better. We also got all linked definitions. So like, for example, consent can be freely given specified informations or so from Article 411, which was not previously there. And also we got some other related provisions which are specific when we are talking about kids or children. So this way, we could get more like 360-degree of the clauses or so, and our agent or our system could give better responses, or I would say more complete response when it comes to that. So what we did, I'll do a process overview here. First, we started with a naive approach, which I would say everyone in the world is doing in today's day, is going through documents, chunking them, embedding them, putting into a vector database, and querying and expecting that they would work magically. And a lot of business people also say that, yeah, why don't you chunk, embed, and then query? But they don't understand the complexities. Then, to make things better, or to find things, because here keywords were super, super important for us. And this is one thing also which is super important while building RAG applications, is to understand your document. The same approach may not work for some other application or some other type of data. So we may have to do some other kind of pre or post processing on them. So for us, hybrid search was already good. When we did re-ranking on top of this chunks from hybrid search, then we could see that the precision of our responses were much, much better. And then when we added graph on top of it, then our responses were like more complete. It got a 360-degree view of it. So what Still missing from my point of view, or next steps, what we should have done is kind of getting a more robust relationship between the vector space, sorry, it's not vector database, it's vector search engine. So vector search engine and graph database. So this one, it can be improved. What we could not do is if there are some contradiction clauses as well. So that could be extended to find what are the contradiction clauses what we have. Plus citation validators can also be done, as this is really, really sensitive data and sensitive, let's say, application. All the sources, what the system found, are they valid or not, or if there is some kind of hallucination there, that also we can find. Plus, yeah, providing some EP, sorry, I've messed it up. EDPB guidance with some sources can be also embedded on top of it to make it more complete. Lightning talks are a new format for me, so I did not prepare any technical overview here. I'm sorry, a lot of us are technical. What I was thinking that probably this much would be enough for 10 minutes, but since we have a bit of more time, now I'm before time done. So if any questions, I would be happy to take it outside, and you can ask me technical questions also, how we implemented it. And as everyone is talking, telling that we are hiring, we are also hiring. If you are open to apply, then talk to me.